Hello and happy Tuesday, which is of course my book reviews day, and today I would like to talk to you about the Invocations by Krystal Sutherland. This particular hardcover edition is the Evernight exclusive edition that I unboxed previously on the channel. I will go over more details about this production after we talk about the book itself. So here we are in October. I figure, we're gearing up for Halloween. Let's have a nice little spooky book about witchcraft. And, well, yes, it is a book about witchcraft. I was a little disappointed that it's not really a horror novel. I mean, it has all the elements of a horror novel. You have one person wanting to bring, you have one main character, Zara, wanting to bring her sister back from the dead. You have another main character, Jude, who has has allowed a demon to latch itself onto her and has basically made her just a walking, aura of death. You have a third main character, Emer, who is helping young women by providing them with invocations, which is a metallic spell that is imbued or tattooed into one's flesh, a woman's flesh, thus tethering a demon to the woman in exchange for the abilities the invocation grants. I mean, it has demons, it has resurrection, it has a murderer going around killing young women. You think it would sound like a horror novel, and the elements are there for a horror novel, but it really kind of pans out as almost like a whodunit mystery thriller. I mean, that murderer who's going around killing the young women is kind of the central thread between all three women of this story. So as I mentioned right there are three protagonists. You have Zara, who has lost her sister almost a year prior and has gone to whatever ends she can in order to bring her sister back from the dead. She's trying to turn to witchcraft to save her sister. The second protagonist, Jude, who ends up kind of being like the main protagonist in the second half of the novel. I mean, it really kind of centers around her life, and the other two characters are still protagonists, but almost secondary to Jude's story. She is the daughter of a billionaire who, doing some amateur witchcraft in the past, has led her to some pretty nasty invocations. As I mentioned, she has a demon that is quite hideously tethered to her soul. She has an aura of death around her, which sounds like it would be a very interesting concept for a character, and it is, except that Jude is just a horn dog the whole time. If Jude were a man, she'd be criticized for just being a shallow, almost misogynistic playboy character. But she's a woman, so she kind of gets away with it. But unfortunately, that being her defining character trait doesn't make her a very endearing character. She's actually kind of annoying to read, to be honest. And then the third protagonist is Emer, who is the witch that ends up connecting these stories together. Emer's clientele, women that she has previously provided invocations to, are turning up dead and brutally mutilated, and with almost Seven-esque biblical quotes sprawled on the walls. "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live," and such. So, for the first 100 pages or so, all the chapters follow one of the three protagonists. Finally, around the 100-page mark, all three of those stories come together to actually get to the main story, bringing together all three of them. And unfortunately, that's kind of one of the weak points of the novel, is that it wears itself thin with the three protagonists. Honestly, I feel like you could have sacrificed one of the protagonists. I mean, not like sacrificed in the novel's aspect. I mean, just, cut it down to two protagonists, reworked the characters, and you would have actually gained more than you would have lost. I mean, Emer, who, like I said, is a witch, has a tragic backstory where she watched her entire family get slaughtered by witch hunters when she was young. And unfortunately, she doesn't get much more character development beyond that. I mean, she, of the three protagonists, is the least fleshed out. Her chapters, she's more of a secondary character to the other two protagonists, just kind of providing exposition when it's needed. I mean, she does have some chapters where she is front and center and allows her to shine a little bit, but I mean, she doesn't get a chance to really shine as a character. She doesn't get too fleshed out, which is a shame. And I think that's kind of the biggest problem I have with the Invocations, is that the characters are, they're not the weakest characters in novels, but they're not very strong characters either. By having to share the stage with two other protagonists, each one is weaker than they could have been. The actual plot, the murder mystery portion of the novel, is unfortunately not as compelling as the individual goals of the characters. Zara wanting to bring her sister back from the dead, Emer being taunted and destroyed from the inside out by this demon. Taunted isn't the right word, because you don't really get to talk to said demon. But those are thrilling plot lines that almost become secondary to the main story of the murderer killing young women, which would be fine if the actual extent of that murderer killing young women plot wasn't completely forecasted and telegraphed miles out, so that any twists and turns that occurred are ones that you've already predicted chapters prior, which is disappointing. I've never read anything with Krystal Sutherland. I don't know if this is on par with her other novels. I would be intrigued to read other novels by Krystal Sutherland. But unfortunately, this novel wasn't quite what I was expecting going in. I was expecting a horror novel. And like I said, again, I'm getting kind of a murder mystery that doesn't quite reach the sum of its parts, unfortunately. So the good news is this isn't necessarily a spooky season read if you're looking for a nice little Halloween fall kind of reading with horror novels. This could be read at any time of the year because it's not really a horror novel. It's not really a YA novel either, which is what I was afraid of going in. There's a lot of YA tropes that, make you kind of roll your eyes. I was kind of expecting to hit a lot of those. That wasn't too bad. There's not really any forced romance. There is technically a forced romance, but it just kind of comes out of nowhere in the epilogue. And, the story's concluded at that point. I really don't care what happens in the epilogue if you want to try to shoehorn a romance in there. There was nothing leading up to it prior to that, but, I can't criticize it too much for it. So anyways, The Invocations by Krystal Sutherland, it's a decent witch read. Just go in knowing that it's more of a murder mystery than a horror novel. The characters are decent. They're still strong female protagonists, even though they don't have as much character development as there could have been had, like I said, there's just been two protagonists instead of three. But it's worth checking out. You can pick up The Invocations wherever books are sold. This particular edition was, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, from Evernight, which is the horror imprint of Illumicrate, which is completely sold out. You'd have to go to the secondary market to find this particular edition. But I will say I do like the production of this particular edition. The artwork is decent. Especially the rear of the dust jacket here. I'm loving the vibes you're getting there. The necromantia vibes of the actual book itself is superb. I love it. I love the little, corpse on the spine, you know what? That's another thing. Quick tangent to go back to the novel. There is one thing that I really didn't like about the novel, and that is there is one character who is incredibly stupid. Like, I'm going to keep it as vague as possible so as not to spoil the plot, but there's a character who essentially touches a burning stove. Not literally, this is a figurative burning stove. She touches a burning stove, and she burns the hell out of her hand, and she goes, ow, that hurts. And then a few chapters later, goes back to the same stove and says, well, maybe it won't burn me this time. And it's just like, God, that's so dumb. But anyways, that I guess is kind of a YA trope. That's that's a little tangent that, I didn't like. But anyways, the novel itself was a decent read. It's a quick read, nothing too hefty to it. It is almost 400 pages, but it's a very quick read, nothing too dense, nothing too thick, that's going to take you too long. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. Like I said, I'll definitely check out some of Krystal Sutherland's other works. I don't know that any of her other stuff has got, well, I know her other stuff hasn't gotten any Evernight editions, but if any of her future works get Evernight editions, I'll probably have unboxing videos for those on my channel as well, because I am subscribed to Evernight. So anyways, thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to check out my weekly book reviews or any of my other unboxing videos that are here and there, day after day on the channel. Plenty to check out to keep you entertained. So anyways, thank you very much for watching. Check out Evernight and Illumicrate. Check out Krystal Sutherland, and we'll see you around next time.